Hello. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back to preview match day 4, which is only hours away, hours, depending on when you're watching this. But it's nice. There's no football as we record this on Thursday. There's no football on Friday. But then, of course, Saturday is a big one and match day 4 starts. And there are important things to note. And here on Chasing Green Arrows, we like to give you the headlines. So the important things to note are we now have 105 million to spend. We now have unlimited transfers until match day 4. We've all got it. And third point, this is really exciting and something I don't think I've ever had in a fantasy game. We can now pick 4 players from one team. Anyone fancy 4 Spanish players, 4 Portuguese players? Yeah, that's what I've gone for in my draft. 4 England defenders, if you want to go rogue. Yeah. So how do we feel about that? I'm guessing we quite like it. So in today's show, we're going to show you mine and Big Man's team. Big Man is on his way. He's always late. We're also going to show you so our points and our teams looking forward. So we've both put together our first drafts, if you like, of our unlimited transfers. I'm going to be making tweaks. The team you're about to see is going to be what I have currently, but I expect 3 or 4 of those positions to change until the deadline. We've got time to tinker, haven't we? We've got time to tinker. Zodiac says 4 England defenders, maybe 4 Austrians. Let's go. Look, the big question for many will come down to, do you have your wild card? Because if you currently have your wild card still, you can pick any players guilt-free, left-hand side of the draw, right-hand side of the draw. Now we know on the left-hand side of the draw, you've got all the big boys. France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Belgium from memory. They're on the left side. Now, if you don't have a wild card and you pick all those players, by the time we get to the quarterfinals, these teams are going to be knocking each other out. So if you don't have your wild card, you've got to pick a lot of players on both sides of the draw, left and right. So yes, you're going to have some Portugal, Spain, but you're also going to have a load of probably Austrian, maybe Dutch, maybe English, maybe Swiss players as well. You've got to spread it because you don't have a wild card, therefore you need routes to make sure you have enough players for the quarterfinals and semi-finals. Guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. How many of you are here? There's a few of you. If you fancy hitting those buttons, that'd be amazing. Like and subscribe. Cam is with us. Good to see you there, Cam. Geddy is with us. Good afternoon, Geddy. Hello to so many of our regulars. John says, what happens in penalty shootouts? If pretty much as terms of fantasy goes, the game finishes at 90. So you don't get any extra points. I don't think in the added time, but you definitely don't get anything for shootout. So the game would finish as a 0-0 draw. You'd get your it goes to a penalty shootout or it goes to extra time. You don't pick up those points. Turkey check yesterday was the most chaotic game I've seen in a long time. They make a record for the amount of yellow cards. What I'd say about Turkey, by the way, guys, this is important to note because they face Austria in the last 16. Turkey were playing against 10 men. Against a weak side, the Czech, who had 10 men, and they still only limped over the line with a last-minute winner. Turkey aren't very good. Turkey play Austria, who are very good. I think that's a nice matchup. I think we should be looking at the likes of Sabitzer. Good options. You do get points next time. It's not the penalty shootout. Thanks for clearing that one up, Zodak. Okay, that's nice. Means you can also get things like clean sheet wipeouts an extra time then as well. This is my first year playing this game, so I must admit I haven't actually checked that rule. Arnautovic is on pens, yeah. I do think we worry a bit too much about players on pens, but maybe not. Maybe not. I'd say Sabitzer's the best Austrian shout. I also like that Bergmeier, the Leipzig player. Big Man is on his way. He will stay on, though, and do a Q&A with you guys. Yeah, Baumgartner. He's very good. Very good. Shall we have a look at how I got on in the match day just gone? So we see my team. We'll see Big Man's team as well. So in terms of points, this is you can check how you're doing up against me and Big Man. I think Big Man's on 200. I've got 18 points to catch him. I'm on 182. I had a miserable week with captaincy. 1 point, I think I had... Who did I have? Oh, that was it. I had Mbappe. I had 12 points. And of course, I didn't stick on Mbappe when I had Lukaku still to play. So yeah, I went to Lukaku. CH is with us for the first time in a few weeks. Or a few shows. Hello, CH. Shout out to you. Back on the 1 p.m. streams. I know they suit your time zone in Canada. So yeah, I had a few points. Like Sabotzlai got a couple of extras. Grimaldo's returns were nice. Gahey's too. Kunde and Teo Hernandez were close to getting a clean sheet. If it wasn't for that Lewandowski pen being retaken that he missed, that would have been beautiful for me with double France defense. It wasn't to be. Raya came in clutch though. The Spanish players let me down a little bit in attack. Orizabal did anyway, as did Jota. De Bruyne, 6 points. This is a really interesting observation, I think. What we saw with De Bruyne was he went and got player of the match. Now, when someone gets player of the match, that extra 3 points feels like a return. So De Bruyne got a clean sheet point, but it was a blank. It was a 3-pointer. Didn't feel like a blank. And it wasn't a blank in the end because he went and got the additional 3. That's like, it feels like De Bruyne got me a goal or an assist. So pick out the players that do get player of the match. We saw last night, Kvaratskhelia for Georgia. He's often going to get player of the match. De Bruyne the same. Mbappe should be the same. Again, is another one that you would expect to get it a lot. So just do monitor that. Who's getting player of the matches? And those extra 3 points are nice. They obviously replace what we know in FPL as the bonus point system. The bench players, I did end up benching players that got 3 points, like Bellingham, for a Diogo Jota who went and got 1 point. So I lost 2 points there, but I had to go for it. And we didn't know if Jota was going to be starting or not. It was a gamble I was willing to take even off the bench for Jota. It was surprising to see the rotation for Portugal. Was a bit of a weird one because they rotated a lot, but then they played the likes of Ronaldo, who you just expect them to give a rest to. Although you saw his reaction, he was really annoyed about coming off. So yeah, I am picking in my matchday 4 team a lot of players that had a rest in matchday 4, in matchday 3. A lot of Portugal and Spanish players that had a rest. I think it'll do them good. Big Man is in the house. Big Man, we're just reviewing the game week or matchday 3. But how are you and how was your match day?
Hi, Gianni. Thanks for having me. It was all right. I mean, I didn't nail the captaincy. I had Lukaku on the final day. I should have probably stuck with Mbappe for 6 points. But I mean, this is not the kind of game where you necessarily tend to stick with a 6-pointer because you're eventually playing for fun. And I would have expected Lukaku to score last night, and that didn't really happen. But overall, it was all right. I mean, I managed a decent enough score. Double Spain defense worked wonders. Double England defense worked fine as well. Ericsson got the man of the match. So it was all right. The strikers didn't do much. I had Kane, Lukaku, Mbappe. So yeah, paltry returns there. De Bruyne, Szoboszlai in midfield. Again, not amazing, but yeah, the defense basically saved my bacon.
Nice. Did you have, like me, double France? We were so close to a clean sheet because did you see the Poland penalty? Lewandowski's pen had to be retaken and Manyan did save it. If he saves that and it's not retaken, we're looking at big points there for our 2 Frenchies.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch the game, but I would have expected a clean sheet there, and it would have been amazing. I saw the highlights. Theo Hernandez should have scored. Mbappe should have scored more. They had plenty of chances, so I feel I got a bit robbed in that game. Honestly speaking, I know a lot of people switched captaincy from Grimaldo or a Spanish defender, and they were seething because switching from an 8-pointer to
that's a big one
to potential. Exactly, that's a big swing. 6 points is a lot in this game with no bonus points as well. But overall, it was a low-scoring week. I assume for most people, not too many popular players hold. I mean, who was the top-scoring player this week?
I don't even know. There's very few. We're seeing very few double-digit. Kvaratskhelia, maybe?
Exactly. Kvaratskhelia scored, right? And got the MOTM, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. And a clean sheet and maybe some recoveries. I don't know.
Yeah, I sold him on the Limitless. So that exactly wasn't pleasant. Seeing him score.
Yeah, I've seen. Freddie says Hernandez could have hauled. That is the story of Theo Hernandez every single match day for France. It feels like he's gonna haul. And again, I'm looking at Theo in my match day 4. I'm going, I don't think I'm going to pick him, and no doubt that'll be the game he turns up in or gets the attacking returns in. That's just purely based on fixture.
Coming to match day 4 picks, I mean, let's get into it straight away. Okay, I still haven't had the time to sort of put up a rough team, but looking at the fixtures, there's some gimme fixtures which you would target. For example, there's England, Slovakia. I think I would go with England defense over there. Maybe Kane, even though England haven't been convincing, but I mean, Kane would still be, he'd still have good odds to score. Spain, Georgia, I assume it will be very popular. A lot of people will go heavy on Spain. Now, the critical thing for people like me and you, and for those people who have the wild card in hand, is just to focus on the round of 16 fixtures alone, because we
Yeah.
will be wild carding after this. So it's just about this 1 week. So one thing I like about this format is sort of that you tend to have a new team every week, right? So it makes the game all the more fun. So when you look at the fixtures, I think Spain versus Georgia is one to target. Spain defense would be really, really popular. I think I'll double up for sure. England, I guess the defense could work. Portugal, Slovenia, I think maybe Bruno Fernandes, maybe Cancelo, maybe Ronaldo, I guess. Netherlands, Romania, maybe Van Dijk, I guess. Apart from that, I mean, I don't see too many standout fixtures. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, we can obviously have 4 players, which is nice. So I'm going to have 4 Spain. I'm probably going to have 4 Portugal. I like that. But then there's the big question of, do you have your wild card? And I said just before you came on, my big thing with wild card is, if you've got your wild card, you can pick guilt-free, left-hand side of the draw, right-hand side of the draw, whatever. If you don't have your wild card, you've got to look at that right-hand side of the draw. You can't just pick loads of Spanish and Portuguese and French players. So you've got to go, oh, I'm probably now going to have 2 Austria or 3 Austria. I'm going to look at the Netherlands. I'm going to look at England more. I'm going to maybe buy a Swiss or an Italian player. Yet, I'm probably not buying many from that side of the draw because I have my wild card. But if you haven't, you've got to go and invest there. I would say Austria are a team definitely worth looking at. 1, because they're playing well and Ralf Rangnick's been brilliant leading the team so well. But 2, I like their draw. Turkey are poor. Like Turkey, it took Turkey a lot to the last minute to go and beat a 10-men Czech Republic who they're playing against. Like I fancy Austria. And again, they've got a good draw, Austria. So if you've used your wild card already, go and buy a couple of Austrians.
I think irrespective of whether or not you have the wild card, two critical things to notice here is that yes, we mentioned about Portugal, Slovenia, Spain, Georgia, England, Slovakia. I think those are fixtures to target. Now those fixtures are one is on 2 of them are on Sunday and 1 is on Monday, right? So what we need to see is which players to captain on Saturday and Tuesday, right? So on Saturday, Switzerland are playing Italy, Germany are playing Denmark. Maybe a German mid for the captaincy. I still think I like Gundogan the most out of all the midfielders simply because of his expected minutes. I think Gundo probably makes it to my team simply because of that reason alone. Yeah. Maybe an Italian defender. Yeah, I mean,
it's hard because Italian defenders aren't a bad pick, but then you look at how many other defenders are really good picks, like England and Spain defenders, and you go, "Oh, have I actually? If we could have a 6th defender and 4 midfielders, we might actually do that, and it would be a DeMarco as your 6th player."
Yeah, and not just that. It's also the fact that while there are plenty of defenders to pick from, like you mentioned, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the English defenders, the midfielder slots aren't exactly as exciting, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at Gundogan, I like that option because he gives me a captaincy option on day 1. At the same time, it fills up a slot where I don't really feel very excited about a lot of other midfielders in the game. For example, Bruno is probably the only one I would want. England, Slovakia, again, I'm not sure. Maybe Bellingham, Spain, Georgia. Again, no one really sort of stands out, right?
Well, Nico Williams at Spain, I like. He's a shoo-in for my team. 7
so?
million.
Yeah,
looked amazing in match day 2.
Yeah, I think I'll have him as well. But I mean, okay, so my second point is that that's captaincy started for day 1. Day 2, I assume it would be a Spanish player over Kane, given how England are playing, because England aren't exactly convincing. I mean, you could go Kane. I don't think there's much between them, to be very honest.
I'm not sure I'll even own Harry Kane.
Oh, that's that's interesting. I think I'll have him. Then France, Belgium, Portugal, Slovenia. Again, you can go with. I mean, Mbappe will be popular still, irrespective of the fixture. I think France will beat Belgium, but Portugal will, of course, do well against Slovenia as well. So that will give the captaincy options there. Romania, Netherlands. I think Van Dijk may be popular.
Yeah.
And then Austria, Turkey. again, Sabitzer, Baumgartner, all these guys, they
will be
could do well as
managers
well.
with no match day 4 cover, won't there? There will be a lot of managers that don't have any Dutch or Austrians.
I think I will have at least one just for the captaincy cover.
Yeah.
At least one. Yeah, just for that reason alone.
If you go that far. But we'll see a lot that stick on a 6 this week or stick on a 7 where they were rolling on a 7.
But would you? I still don't think. I mean, in hindsight, obviously, it sort of doesn't read well that I switched from Mbappe, but I don't exactly regret it because I think
No,
if I
because we had
had to make
Lukaku
that
and
decision,
Ronaldo as options. But if you've got Van Dijk as your option and you're on 6 points, you're probably sticking.
yeah, that's right. On day 3. On day 3,
Yeah,
though. On day 3,
true.
not on day 2. Not on day 2. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's say if Mbappe gets 6. Sorry, Mbappe's playing on the 3rd day, right? Mbappe's playing on the 3rd day.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, if Harry Kane gets 6 on day 2, you're switching to Mbappe or to Ronaldo or anyone of that sort, or Bruno, right? Because 6, I think all these guys would be expected to score close to 6, if not more, right?
Yeah.
So I would definitely shift on day 3. And if, let's say, I end up with a 6 point on day 3, I'm not shifting for sure. There's no chance.
Yeah, same. I've still not had a big captaincy return, I don't think. It started so badly. Match day 1, we all had Verts, and look what happened. We rolled it.
Yeah. I had Gundo on day 2, so that was one that worked well for me. But in game week 1 and 3, I messed up with the captaincy. But again, another point I'd sort of like to make here is that yes, there is a very good chance, like you mentioned, and I would assume that there's a high probability of this happening, that you end up on a 6-pointer or close to a 6-pointer on day 3 and you don't switch captain on day 4. But just in case you captain Mbappe and France don't do well against Belgium, then you would want to have that extra security of rolling the dice, even if it's someone not as exciting. At least it's nice to have that option in the back pocket, which is why I think I will have at least one player playing on day 4, either from the Netherlands or from Austria. So I want to have that option.
Do you think you'll have an attacker from those two teams? Like I looked at Xavi Simons at 7 million for the Dutch, but he's not guaranteed to start.
Yeah, his minutes
Never
are
plays
concerned.
90.
I think a mid probably, because so I want to discuss mids. Okay, so talk to me about midfielders. Which midfielders appeal? I mean, apart from Gundogan, maybe a second German midfielder.
I think I'll only have one German mid. And I think I'll go Musiala, but yeah, I agree. Gundo's a great pick, but one German mid alongside, let's say, Bruno Fernandes, and then a Spanish player. So that's 3.
Yeah, Bruno's locked in for me as well. So that's 3, right? But again, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Apart from that,
yeah,
there's not too many exciting options. So exactly. So might as well pick the Austrian mid just to have that insurance of the captaincy on day 5.
Another one I think I will end up going, and that's I will go for either a second Spanish mid or a second Portuguese mid, because I just love those fixtures. I'm going for quadruple ups on those two teams. So at the moment, I've got Bernardo Silva in, and I like Bernardo Silva.
But Gianni,
go on.
Won't you rather have 4 Portuguese defenders? Don't you think, for example, my question is hypothetically, comparing, in isolation, don't you think a Portuguese defender outscores Bernardo Silva?
I've got Cancelo, but I have 1. There's an argument to say you have 2, but you can't have 6, 7, 8 defenders in this game, which I'd probably like. Like I would like double Portugal defense. I'd like double England defense. I'd definitely like double Spain defense. You can't. I'd probably like Mittelstadt, and I'd like DeMarco. Like that's 8 defenders. And I'd like Theo Hernandez. Make it 9, please. So I don't quite know what I'm doing with the back line, and it means that I'm having to go like double Spain midfield with, say, Pedri as well as Nico Williams, or I'm having to go. I mean, let's have a look at my first draft. Let's see my team here. And I'm not going to lie, this draft was made last night. I've already made a tweak or 2, but a lot of this team is fixed, and then there's 4 or 5 that will swap, and the 2 midfield spots.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm thinking that might end up being Pickford, but I mean, yeah, let's just talk through the midfield though, because I mentioned Pedri and Bernardo Silva. The 3 on the left, Musiala, Nico Williams, and Bruno are fixed, right? But then those other 2, like we've just been discussing, that could be a Sabitzer, it could be a Dutch midfielder like Xavi Simons, Baumgartner. He looks really good, but I'm just
Bellingham,
back in the
maybe.
team. Spain and Portugal have got the highest ceiling this week. So, yes, Bernardo Silva's not the best fantasy asset. Yes, Pedri doesn't score many. But just back the fixture and the team they play for. And Spain and Portugal, despite Portugal looking bad, if we just take match day 1 and 2, and remember, both these teams will return to their match day 2 11s, probably. They are very well functioning attacks. So Bernardo Silva and Pedri, they're going to be in amongst goal involvements, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and I see where you're coming from. Not an Italian mid. No one. If you get
If
a leak
Chiesa
early,
was listed as a mid, which he should be,
we'll have the team sheets, right?
Yeah, we
Before the
will. And
deadline.
if we see Fratesi starts or Pellegrini starts, they're like 7.5 Pellegrini, 7 million Barella, 6.5 Fratesi. I do think I might just reserve that Pedri slot for an Italian mid based on the team lineup. Just because I want, and I'm probably going to not have DeMarco, and DeMarco will become like an English defender, for example. So I've got to have one Italy player.
And the thing is, Gianni, that we're sort of reaching that stage where obviously a lot of teams have been eliminated, and there's only a certain pool of players that you can pick from, and that's obviously getting limited by the day, as given how many teams are getting eliminated with each passing day.
Yeah.
So this is probably the last week where you can sort of go for high upside differentials, right? Because after this, I mean, even in this week, I assume the template will be very strong and it will be very difficult to differentiate. But after this, it will be near on impossible because almost everyone will have close to the same team simply because the number of teams that are left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's I mean, this is that kind of week where, you can sort of go with someone like a Bernardo Silva based on gut instinct, or Pedri, or just hope for the best,
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Giddy says Gianni has to go 4 Italy defenders. Oh, I might not actually go any and just go with that one Italian mid. Maliki says gone for Bastoni instead of DeMarco, which is interesting. Bastoni scored in match day 1. He could have had 2 in match day 3. He's getting some very good headers. And the likes of Pellegrini and DeMarco really do deliver with the crosses. DeMarco has been an injury concern and probably won't play 90. So I do like that Bastoni 90-minute appeal, and he should be good for the recoveries too. So I don't mind that. He's 0.5 more. DeMarco could be sent home and he'd still be in Gianni's team, says Peter. Thank you. Yeah, so true. No, I'm not sure he will be in. But yeah, that midfield, 3 are fixed. As I said, Pedri and Bernardo Silva probably aren't. I think Bernardo Silva might be, but the Pedri slot probably becomes an Italian mid. Let's talk about the front 3 and then we'll talk backline and goalkeepers. So attack, I don't have Harry Kane, but I am fixed on going Mbappe. I'm fixed that I'm going to have Morata. I know he won't play 90, but I'm picking Morata for the fixture.
The Morata pick.
And then I like the Ronaldo pick too. And I think if you want to have a punt on a Depay, I like that as an option, him as an option too, or Gakpo. So how do we fit Harry Kane in, big man? Who are you dropping out of these 3?
It's very difficult. I mean, I can understand why you've gone with these 3. It's the Morata's pick is sort of surprised me because he's not exactly a 90-minute man, but yeah, I mean, Spain can beat Georgia 3 or 4-0, and Morata could get a brace before halftime. I won't be surprised. That's the game that you're playing, and yeah, it's a good punt.
Yeah, nice. And Ronaldo,
it's not as if Kane
Ronaldo
is
versus
really well
Kane,
anywhere.
Similar prices. Who would you go there? I mean, you save $1 million on Ronaldo, but the fixtures are similar. One plays Slovenia, one plays Slovakia, similar standard of opposition.
Portugal are a more functioning team.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, we have seen, and people won't pick Portugal players now because they lost to Georgia and look rubbish. But we have to remember what we saw in match day 1 and 2, and that was everyone going, "Whoa, Portugal look good." And remember, the Portugal team last night, just like the Spanish team in match day 3, was very different. Like there was huge rotation there. So we're going to see Bruno Fernandes come in. We're going to see Cancelo come in, and a lot of the guys I've picked for Spain and Portugal were rested in match day 3. Carvajal, Cancelo, Bernardo Silva, Pedri, Bruno Fernandes, Nico Williams, and Morata were all rested. Could bode well that they've had a little break.
My question to you is Gianni, do you think you'll captain Morata on day 2?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the points I was making about having high upside differentials.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's probably going to be a day when a lot of people will resort to, maybe Kane or Bellingham or Spanish mid, and I don't think a lot of people will be captaining Morata that day. So he could be a big differential for you
I
over
love
there.
that. Yeah. I think the other guy people will bring in and captain is Yamal and Maliki in the chat. Maliki, shout out Maliki, one of my channel members, says Yamal over Morata. You save 2 million. So if you need to squeeze, say, Harry Kane in instead of Ronaldo, or you're going to need money. So Morata down to Yamal makes complete sense. Geddy says he loves the Morata pick. Who would you pick if money wasn't an object, big man? Because Yamal is obviously playing in exactly the same position on the other side of the pitch as Nico Williams. He should be listed as a midfielder. He's playing in a front three, but out wide. But unfortunately, the likes of Rafa Leao, Chiesa, and Yamal are three mids listed as forwards in this game. So it's just a little bit of a turn-off because you get a point fewer for a goal and you're occupying one of three precious slots. There's so many spots available in midfield that we're happy to experiment with, but very few up front.
I think
if Yamal was a mid, he'd be in all our teams.
exactly. It's just that he's out of position, and the fact that Yamal I don't think is going to be near for 90 minutes either, right? So might as well go with the striker.
Yep. Morata will get more chances.
Exactly, and you've gotten Williams, who's almost as good as Yamal and is classified as a midfielder, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think I would probably have it as it is, honestly, in your team.
Yeah, okay, nice. So I think that front eight is going to probably stay the same, but Pedri comes out for an Italian punt.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I think I will probably differentiate in the Pedri and Bernardo Silva slots. Maybe I'll go Kane over Morata or Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And apart from that, maybe I think I'll double up on the Spanish defender. I don't think I'll have Mittelstadt. I think Germany will concede. I think Germany will concede. Are you sure about Mittelstadt?
I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% if I'm going to go with a German defender or not. The defenses I really like are Spain, Portugal, and England. I just think Denmark have got a good chance. When we look at like bookies odds for clean sheets, I've actually bookmarked this. I'm just going to check them now. I know favourites for a clean sheet, and this isn't surprising, is Spain.
64%, which is why I think
58 for England.
64 is very, very healthy. It is very healthy.
It? And then England 58, Portugal 56, Netherlands 54. We've got 4 teams over 50%, which is quite rare. Germany are at 48.
Exactly. So that doesn't exactly inspire me with a lot of confidence. I think I'll go with Van Dijk if there's the off chance that he's on penalties and he's playing on the last day. So that's something which can work well.
You make a very good point about captaincy on day 4, and many will consider that. Yeah, they'll either ignore it because they go they're not sexy enough teams, or they will just not see it as a thing. But if you ever gamble on match day 3 on an Mbappe or a Ronaldo and it doesn't work for you, and look, Ronaldo and Mbappe haven't been delivering in terms of big points, you might just need that Dutch player or a Sabitzer. I don't think Sabitzer's a bad shout to fall back on either, and I do really like Austria versus Turkey. Before we move on to defenders and goalkeepers then, and guys, thank you all for hitting that like button. Please do subscribe as well. If you're new around here, you're watching for the first time, hit the subscribe button.
Gianni,
Michael will... Go on, yeah.
Yeah, my question to you is, while you were mentioning the clean sheet odds, which teams are projected to score the most goals? I assume it will be in a similar order, which it's going to be Spain first, Portugal second, England third.
Yeah, I think it is those 3. And I think Germany were up there as probably 4th, and I think France are still up there pretty high.
So clearly, I mean, the fixtures to target it's basically Portugal, Spain, and England. Yeah. I want to just max out on these teams, honestly.
Yeah, the quadruple up is fun. Like we can't do that in FPL, so to be able to go quadruple up just seems like a cool plan.
And I think it's a cool plan for people who even don't have the wild card as well, because England are on the other side of the draw, right?
Exactly.
So then you can just back England, and you can back some of the other teams in the other side of the draw. I think that works well. I think that's a decent strategy for everyone, irrespective of whether or not you have the wild card.
Let's do a poll. How many England attackers will you have? 0, 1, or 2? Everyone's going to have an England defender or Pickford, or 2 or 3 of them. But do you pick an England mid or forward? Because there's one midfielder if we get a leak on Friday or Saturday morning, and with England, we've been getting sort of 24 hours before the rumours, like we all heard about Gallagher about 24 hours before. If we hear Cole Palmer is starting, I'll probably pick Cole Palmer. He is the only mid that I would consider. He's 7.5 million, by the way. What's your
Cole
take
Palmer
on
played
Palmer?
really well. I think he played really well. He was probably England's best player. Played for like, 20, 25 minutes, and he was really good. I think if he's starting, he could be an excellent option. And I think he should start. Do you expect him to start? I think I do.
It's just Gareth, isn't it? I don't know. With Foden being back in Manchester as well, I assume Foden returns today or tomorrow. But if we don't know about Foden, and if Gareth's like he's missed training for 3 days, and he might just go, you know what, Foden, you're fine, but you knew this risk when you left the camp that you might miss the game, and actually ends up playing Palmer in the Foden role on the left, which is, you know, where Palmer played when he came on. Gordon could also come on. Gordon is also a doubt. He fell off his mountain bike. I've seen the pictures. He's got he'll be fine. It's just a grazed chin. I don't think he is a doubt, really. Gordon's more of a doubt because Southgate doesn't like him. Get voting, guys. When we say attackers, we mean mids or forwards. Currently, only 14% of you will have 2 England attackers, and then it's split. 40-ish will have 0, 40-ish will have 1.
Gianni, if you allow me to be a bit critical of this draft, I think another point I'd like to sort of mention here is that generally in this format, I think that given how we can set the team up, I like to have at least one keeper with higher clean sheet odds, as opposed to the ones you've picked. Now, I know you're Italian and you really like Donnarumma, and they've gone with Pence, but I think having at least one of the English keeper or the Portuguese keeper or the Spanish keeper, I think it makes a lot of sense, just so that you can back a relatively nailed clean sheet in that position.
Yeah, and they do all play, all the guys you've just mentioned play on a different day to Austria. And remember, with goalkeepers, that's important. It's great Austria a day 4. I have changed it. I am going Pickford over Donnarumma. And also that saves me money. Yeah. Pickford's 5 million.
Donnarumma's going to save a penalty now, and you're going to Donnarumma's going to save a penalty now, and you're going to come back with receipts on the next show.
Mate, Donnarumma has been remarkable. Like Donnarumma in match day 3, I thought the penalty save, but also a couple of saves in open play from Croatia, so good. In match day 2, he was insane. I would argue Donnarumma and actually the Georgian goalkeeper, those 2 guys have been in the top 3-4 players of the tournament so far. It's ridiculous. Like goalkeepers are getting the headlines, but unbelievable performances so far. Donnarumma, I just think, is the world's best by a country mile. No one can tell me different on that one. But yeah, Pickford over Donnarumma for the fixture. And then Pence is a 4 million backup. No one thought Pence was going to be a starting keeper for Austria. UEFA priced him wrong. 4 million for the Austrian keeper is a great pick as a backup, who also plays on the last day.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, if funds are an issue, then Pence is great for dissolving that problem, and pairing him with one of the better keepers, as mentioned earlier, is great. Yeah, I think Gehi for his price is great. A lot of these picks sort of pick themselves, really. I think where you can go different is the third forward slot, apart from maybe Mbappe and Ronaldo. I think the third forward slot is where you can differentiate. It's the 2 mids, apart from the German mid, the Portuguese mid, and the Spanish mid.
Yeah,
and it's basically in defense, apart from, let's say, Cancelo and Gehi, I think, and even Carvajal. So I think there are 2 picks in defense. There's probably 1 goalkeeper. That's 3. And there are 2 midfielders, and there's 1 forward. So I think these 6 slots are where you can effectively differentiate from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Zodak, who says, this draft doesn't really attack the game week. You're killing me, dude. He says, you got a wild card. Stop picking safe picks and attack it. I would argue triple Spain attack and triple Portugal attack with players like Pedri and Bernardo Silva is pretty attacking the game week and non-template. But yeah, I always hear you, Zodak. I appreciate your comment regardless if I agree or not. So thank you. Guys, do hit the like and subscribe button as well. I'm going to just go through my nailed picks. Who's definitely in this draft and who I'm likely to change. From the 8 attackers, Pedri is probably coming out. Bernardo Silva could come out.
I would argue that because Bernardo Silva is taking up 8.5 million of your budget, 8.5 million is a lot. You can
Yeah, but
save
he's
that
such a
cash.
fun differential. What I've got currently is Pedri is like Barella, Donnarumma is Pickford, and then I've got an extra 0.5 or million to spend on an extra Spanish defender. So I've currently got, instead of DeMarco, I've got Laporte.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think instead
Yeah.
of Mittelstadt, I've gone with an extra England defender, maybe
What
Stones.
what are the Italians' clean sheet odds?
Just under half. I think like 48 or 52.
That's
No,
still
40.
decent.
40.
Oh, that's low then.
Yeah.
That's
So
fairly
France
low.
are at 44, Germany 48. Italy are around the same as Austria, who are at 38.
So only 3 teams above 50?
Yeah, four teams above 50. We've got Spain,
Yeah.
England, Portugal, and the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
So again, Van Dijk.
Have you given Verbruggen a thought? I think Verbruggen could be nice, but then you'd have to sell Pence.
I
I
want
don't mind
Pence.
that idea. If I have the funds, I don't mind
If you have
Verbruggen
0.5 floating around, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Verbruggen is better than Pence if you have 0.5 floating around because
Yeah.
Netherlands are definitely more secure to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, the odds are way better. Austria at 38%, Netherlands at over 50. That is a big difference. I do always think Turkey have got a goal in them. It is worth noting Chanaloglu is suspended. So Turkey's a heartbeat and leader in that team. But yeah, one to monitor. If we're talking, Sokhan's got a good question for us. Back on one differential this week. So let's pick a player that's not in my 15 here. I'll also pick one. Yeah, great shout. I think he's a great differential.
Yeah, I'd go Sabitzer.
I'm gonna pick one, and no one's looking at Italy, and rightly so. But I do think Lorenzo Pellegrini, when he's been on the pitch, has looked good. He came off at half time. I'm not so sure why he came off at half time, but with the set piece threat, I think Italy could surprise a few people against Switzerland. I'm not counting my chickens. Switzerland are a very good team. Italy are the bookies' favourites. Just they do turn up in the knockout stages historically. I just wonder if Pellegrini at 7.5 is a nice differential. I'm going to go for an Italy mid. I've decided. I'm not going to go for an Italian defender because there's so many good options out there in goal and at the back. If Chiesa was a mid, he'd be absolutely in my team. And Gary mentions Chiesa. Unfortunately, Chiesa is like an 8.5 million forward. I just prefer Morata. Let's talk about England, though, big man. Harry Kane. The poll we've got up at the moment, it looks like around 52% people will have one England attacker. So let's just change that question. Will you own Harry Kane in match day 4? Yes or no? We will poll it, but we'll also ask Big Man the same question. What's the percentage chance you own him, Big Man? I'm going to say 100%. No, I'm going to say 80% chance no for me. 20% chance yes.
I think it's going to be 50-50.
Wow,
I'll just sit on the fence. Honestly, I think there's a good chance I do, actually. I mean, I'll probably say
51-49?
I'll say 60-40.
Okay. You're going to need some money, though, mate, if you're going to have a similar looking team.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue, right? So I don't think I'll be spending big in the Bernardo Silva or Pedri slots.
Yeah, okay.
I might save some money in the Donnarumma slot as well.
Yeah. And then Morata goes up to Kane or Ronaldo to Kane?
Yeah, I'll sort of have to put a draft together and figure that out. But yeah, whatever works better. Obviously, I'll look at the combination because the key thing is I don't think I'll be captaining Kane, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you won't. I don't think you will. You're going to want to captain a Spanish player, aren't you?
Yeah, because Spain are playing Georgia, so it's tricky. So, I mean, if I want to captain Kane on day 2, then I might as well go Kane. But I sort of have to figure out whether or not I want to make that call. And at the moment, I'm just not sure.
67% of the chat will not own Harry Kane. I think it's not. I think many look at the fixture and go, look, Kane's a perfectly good pick. It's Slovakia. He can turn up in any game. Haven't got to worry about his minutes or his start. But they then just look at the price. And yes, we've got an extra 5 million to spend. But finding 11 million. So let's say swapping Morata to Kane in this example we can see on screen right now. Where do you find 2.5 million? Well, you can find it from Bernardo Silva, sure. But there's not a huge amount of midfield options below 7.5. So let's say you find it, you go down to Xavi Simons at 7, and then you change Donnarumma to Pickford. That's your 2.5 saving. It is possible, it's just for me not optimal. Kane is a very expensive pick if you're not going to captain him.
Yeah, I hear you. And especially if you're going to captain Morata, it makes all the more reason to pick Morata, right?
And I just
See,
don't think anyone's going to own Morata. I really can't see. One, because it's the Kane slot. Two, because he's more expensive than the Nico Williams, and everyone's going to own Nico Williams. Three, because Yamal is 2 million less than Morata. And four, because so many of us watch the Premier League and everyone just goes, Morata's rubbish. Well, he might be a crap finisher, but he's going to get chances, and he's Spain's number 9.
And 5, because no one would want to captain him.
Yeah, and 5, because you don't see him as a captaincy option. So I can't wait to captain Morata. I'm most excited about captain Morata than I have been about any player or decision I've made in the tournament so far, genuinely, because it will be my big differential captain that I don't think I've massively had. Like, I've often not captained the obvious, but I've captained the second or third obvious.
And honestly, Gianni, it's fine, because even if it doesn't work, it's not as if that you can't resort to Mbappe on day 3 or any other player on day 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would, especially if you're taking that risk on Morata in day 2, I would strongly recommend that you pick at least one Netherlands or Austria player in on day 4. That just makes the case for that all the more stronger.
I would like to get Van Dijk in, I think, and maybe that DeMarco slot.
I think I'll definitely have Van Dijk.
Yeah, I'm also looking at captaincy for match day 1. For me, I'm pretty set. That Pedri slot, which I said is going to be an Italian midfielder, I'm going to captain them. If it's Fratesi, if it's Barella, if it's Pellegrini, I'm going to captain them.
Over German mid.
Yeah, because again, it's just chasing that differential. I think your German mid could go and get, a return. What if he gets one return? You're probably twisting. If an Italian mid gets big points, I'll be the only one with them, so I may as well hold. So I'm just going to do it for the fun.
My only question there is that, what do you think is more likely, a German mid getting 2 returns or an Italian mid? And I would still think it's a German mid, so you might as well go with the German mid.
I'd say there's not much in it. I like Denmark. So? Denmark defense is good.
I know, but Denmark are a decent team, but it's still sort of back Germany to score probably twice against them.
I bet they're like 1.7, 1.8 for goals, Germany, whilst Italy are probably 1.3,
I think Italy was slightly at 1.4, 1.5.
Do you reckon? I hope so. Yeah. I've not looked. But yeah, I'm just going to do it because my heart's in it. That's why I'm picking an Italian mid. Again, because we're not sold on the midfield positions. Fratesi's always got goal threat, and I feel like he owes me after match day 1 when he hit the post and missed a big chance, and I owned him. Pellegrini's got a set-piece threat, and Barella's been Italy's best player. Barella, who has covered more distance than any other player this tournament, I read the other day. It could have changed because there was a few more games after that. He's also made the second most tackles, which I like. Is Havertz the forgotten man, says Philip. Who starts up front for Germany? I think Havertz still gets the nod, and he probably gets an hour.
I agree, and it's just expected minutes, which is why we sort of haven't mentioned him or seem to have forgotten about him, is because it's just that his minutes in match day 2 and 3 have been very, very low. Right after, I remember a lot of people who struggled in match day 2 had Havertz as captain on day 1. They weren't able to get the captaincy right with Gundogan, right? Yeah. So I don't want to go with Havertz because I don't really see him as a captain, and I just don't like his minutes.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm with you there.
And the fixture isn't as good either. I mean, yes, Morata is probably going to get 70 minutes as well, but Morata's fixtures is far more easier, so might as well go with him.
Yeah, I think
at a similar-ish price.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. Completely agree there, guys. Thank you for all your questions. I'm excited for match day 4. Just in terms of format, big man, let's just recap on the things that we've seen so far in terms of difference to FPL, because FPL is a game that's coming back to us very soon. Like most content creators, I think, are probably expecting FPL to drop in the next sort of 10 days-ish. So with that in mind, do we like anything of what we've learned so far or what we've seen in the UEFA game for FPL? So do we like the limitless chip? Do we like the extra 5 million for certain rounds? Do we like the ball recoveries? Do you like changing the armband? If any of those things would you like to see in FPL?
I think there are a couple of things that I like. I don't like the ball recoveries. I mean, I don't want to cheer for ball recoveries while I'm watching the Premier League and hoping that my players get points in FPL. I I don't like the man of the match rule as well because it's a bit contentious and it's a bit subjective.
Mhm.
Um, I don't like the idea of twisting the captain as well. It would just make the game more difficult for the casuals to play.
It's not one for a 38 game week season, that rule. I love it for
Yeah,
a 7 week season, but not a
agreed.
38.
Yeah. So what I like is, firstly, I like the rule where they award 2 points for every penalty that is earned by a player that is fouled. So I really like that because in FPL, if you earn a penalty and the player ends up missing the penalty, then you don't get awarded an
Yeah.
assist, and I think that's
You've done
wrong.
your bit.
If
Yeah.
you Exactly, if you're winning a penalty, you should get rewarded for it. So I like those 2 points that are on
And the same
offer.
player can be rewarded, right? You can win the penalty and take the penalty and get points for both those things,
Yeah,
which is cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's something that is nice, and I really like the limitless chip. Chip. I would like the free hit chip to be one with the unlimited budget, so that you
Nice.
can just pick whoever you want. I mean, free hit is meant to be fun, right? You can pick anyone, so might as well make it more fun by giving unlimited budget to give complete flexibility. I love that idea.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching on Catch Up what rules you like. I agree with everything you've said, other than I do like ball recoveries, but I would want bonus points to stay. And bonus points over a player that match all day long for me. I love the BPS. The other thing I think that's pretty much it. I was going to say the thing I like, but I think that's it. I like the ball recoveries. I don't like switching the armband. I like the limitless chip. Yeah. So far, so good. The deadline. I like the deadline.
And
I
the
like
and the
deadline.
manual subs.
Yeah, I think manual subs for a game that appeals to 11 million managers, of many of which are very casual managers. I feel like that would sting a few too many and would be a bit.
I agree.
So I think
I,
I'd keep the bench as it is in FPL.
Agreed. Again, it's like the captaincy. I don't think it's one for 38 weeks, but for a short format thing, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. 2 players a team, says Sokan. I must say, I agree with that. In this game, I love the fact we can go 4. But remember, this is a smaller pool of teams. In the Premier League, when we got 20 teams, I would love the decision, say with Arsenal last season, to go, do you go double Arsenal defence or do you go one defender and Saka? And I do think in the Serie A game, that's where they massively have it right. I played the Serie A fantasy, and you can only have 2 players per team. And for the last 12 months, when I've played that alongside FPL, so many times I've gone, I wish FPL had the same rule, because it just allows you to go and pick more players from mid-table teams. Like we'd all have a West Ham player, because you only you can't have all the big teams.
It essentially increases the pool of players you can pick from.
Yeah. And it also increases your decisions on the big teams. So like
I think
with Arsenal is that great example with Arsenal would be a big decision. Double defense or Saka and Gabriel.
While I agree with you, and while I think that I would enjoy this rule as well, this 2 quota rule, but why I see FPL not following it or adopting it is basically why you see them making the player prices very generous, is because they want people to pick players from big clubs to be invested in the game, especially the casuals, right? I mean, a lot of people, for example, not living in England, they only know about the big clubs, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City.
Yeah, they don't want to pick West Ham players.
Liverpool, etc. Yeah. Exactly. They're not interested in picking West Ham players, neither can they be asked doing the research for it, right? So they might as well pick the big players, and that's why I feel have priced the some of the big players very, very generously, so that making a good team of players that a lot of the common average FPL Premier League fan knows, if they can select them, then obviously they would have more interest in the game. So that's why I think it will stay the way it is.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, we've not seen any changes in FPL for 4 or 5 years. I think the all-out attack chip going to the free hit was perhaps the last change we've seen.
Yeah, it was a nice change as well. I mean, I didn't like the all-out attack. It was basically useless chip.
Yeah, it really was. Oh, two defenders, great. Guys, we've got so many questions to get through. So what we're going to do is, Big Man, I think if you can you
I
do a
can take the questions.
quick 10, 15-minute Q&A? I'm going to love you
Yeah.
and leave you guys. But I look forward to seeing you ahead of the Matchday 5 deadline, which will also be loads of fun. We'll review our Matchday 4 points. I've got 18 points to catch up on Big Man. Can I do it with a Maratta captaincy haul? Yes, I can, I hope. Let's see.
Take care, Gianni. See you soon. Take care.
Look forward to chatting in a few days, mate. Take care. See you
All
guys.
Right.
Thanks for watching.
When are we doing this next time?
Oh, I don't know. When is match day 5? I think it finishes on a Monday, doesn't it? No, the games are Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So probably on next Wednesday, I guess.
Wednesday, yeah. I'll see you
Makes
on Wednesday.
sense to do
Take
Wednesday.
care, mate.
It'd be good to do it Wednesday as soon as the then we have a few days to breathe, and it's good for catch-up views, I guess. So yeah, I think probably Wednesday, if not Thursday morning, but probably Wednesday. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one. See you later.
Take care, Johnny. All right, guys, send in your questions. I have roughly 5 minutes, so you can send in whatever questions you have, and I will make sure to answer all of them. Greg is saying, what do we know about player price changes? Nothing yet. We were just discussing, what FPL can do to improve the game, etc. We haven't heard anything for the next season as of now, but we're expecting the game to launch in a couple of weeks' time. Next question, best Dutch option. I think it's Van Dijk. I think I will have Van Dijk in my team as well, and I think I'm probably going to pick him as well. As Gianni mentioned earlier, we're not sure whether Xavi Simons is going to be nailed for 90 minutes. So if you're looking at an attacker, it's probably Hakpo, but again, I'm not exactly convinced. Best goalkeeper combination. I like the idea of pairing Verbruggen or Pence, preferably Verbruggen, with any of Pickford, Costa, or Unai Simon, because these teams, England, Portugal, and Spain, have the best clean sheet odds. And then if your keeper doesn't do well, then you can switch him to Verbruggen if he's because he's playing on day 4, which is the final day of the match day, and Netherlands themselves have a very healthy chance of keeping a clean sheet. Next question is from Maliki Fox. Sabitzer and Baumgartner, just one. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind picking both, honestly. I think I would have one for the security of a captain on day 4 in case nothing works for me till the end of game day 3. But yeah, I think I don't mind the double up, because the midfield options, like mentioned, there are not too many midfield options to pick from. So if you want to go with 2, it's a good idea. And I don't think a lot of people will have to. So it's fine if you want to pick 2. The next question is from FPL Copycat. Hey, big man, how is your match day 4 team looking? I actually haven't made a draft yet. It was the games got over at around 3 a.m. over here, so I actually didn't have much time to come up with a draft. But I think it's going to be heavily based on Spain, England, and Portugal. I think I'm going to have at least 2 defenders from England, Portugal, Spain. Then I'm going to have Van Dijk. I'm going to have Bruno Fernandes, maybe a Spanish mid in Williams. Then up front, Mbappe for sure. Likely Kane as well. Ronaldo, I'm not sure about as of now. Of course, asking safest backup goalkeeper to possibly qualify. That's interesting, because then you're looking. I assume you don't have the wild card in hand, and then you're looking at basically the other side of the draw. In which case, I think it might be an Austrian goalkeeper that you can go for. FPL Was is asking, would you double up on Germany midfield? I don't mind. I don't mind the double up as well. As mentioned earlier, I don't think there are plenty of clear-cut midfielders to pick, and Musiala and Gundogan are as good as they get. I think Gundo is probably going to be my captain on day 1. Gianni was going to captain Musiala. I think I'm going to go with Gundo, simply for the security of expected minutes. Next question is from... No questions yet. Sokan is asking Bucker's one differential this week. I mentioned Sabitzer. I really like Sabitzer. I don't think a lot of people will have him and he's on pens for Austria, so he'd be my pick as well. Any other questions? All right, it's time for us to say goodbye. I assume there's nothing more to address. So thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, keep supporting us. It really means a lot. And we'll see you all again soon, next Wednesday. Take care. Good luck.